A few days ago, I asked the subscribers of the channel if they had any questions they wanted to see answered. Who is the best active pianist today? Oh man, that's a hard one. I took some, compiled them right here. And if you are feeling a little left out because you missed the post and you didn't get your questions asked, go to the comments right now. Ask questions. You can ask any question you want. I'll take the good ones or the reasonable ones, let's put it that way, and make another video maybe sometime in the future. First up here, we have a question from, I thought it was Violet, but I guess it's Violentamente Pacifico 3500. And they ask, who is the best active pianist today? That is a great question. Actually, something that people ask a lot, like, who's the best piano player? If you want to know who the fastest runner in the world is, you can look up last year. Who ran the fastest 50-meter dash or the fastest 100-meter or fastest 5K? You can look up those numbers. In sports, you can see who won the most championships. Maybe that's a metric you want to use. Music, a particular kind of challenge we face in piano, is the career track of lots of performing pianists. It's actually play contests. There are competitions, but they win them. And when they win one or multiple, they stop competing because they don't really want to compete. They want to perform. Why would you prepare for stressful competitions where you're being judged by judges when you could just give a concert and get paid for it? So the most successful people in music, and maybe the best people, don't compete anymore. So to answer your question, I'm just going to give you a few names of pianists that I look for. Those pianists are Martha Argerich. Martha Argerich is just great all around at everything. I mean, she's been performing for like over 50 years, over 60 years. Evgeny Kissin, sorry for your first name pronunciation, but he is just not necessarily child prodigy version of him, but the version of him as an adult now is just, he's amazing. He's probably my top person for interpreting Beethoven, and Beethoven is my favorite composer. So I listen to a lot of his music, but really anything that he seems to do, Kissin is just amazing. Emmanuel Ax is a great musician, great interpreting. And then Yundi Lee, more in particular for romantic stuff. I mean, I know it's kind of the stereotype about him. Yundi Lee plays romantic music, but he's really good at it. Like Yundi Lee is so good at Chopin, so good at Liszt, just so good at like getting a lot of soul and a lot of music kind of in there. So Yundi Lee, great as well. I know I'm leaving out a lot of really good musicians in this answer, but my answer wouldn't really mean a lot if I just named like 20 or 30 people, right? So my favorite people, Martha Argerich, Kissin, Yundi Lee, Emmanuel Ax, like the first people I look for. If they have a recording of something, I assume I'm going to like it. All right, next question here from Mikhail Jastrzewski, 5707. Will you make a video with ranking every Chopin nocturne similar to the Beethoven sonatas one? Yes, I made a video where I ranked every Beethoven sonata, and I love that's a super fun video to make. It's a lot of work, but it's really a fun video to make. Yeah, the nocturnes, it's a great suggestion. Of all, it's hard to say of all, but of all the sets of pieces that I'm familiar with, probably next to the Beethoven sonatas, probably the nocturne, just because I've used them so much in my teaching. I feel like I already know a good chunk of them. I played some of them. So yeah, I think I will totally make the video in the future. So thanks for suggesting it. Up next here, we have Joe Richter 1, who says, what do you know about piano now as a teacher that you most wish you knew as a beginning student? When I saw this question, I was like, oh man, that's a hard one, because it's so like, I feel like I need something very profound to offer, something that like, will really change your life. I think the best answer would be like the number one thing I want my students to get. I try to get my students to wrap their heads around when they're like, beginner, intermediate, is that the gap between them and a great pianist isn't as far as they think in skill. Now there's a gap, but it's more in how they approach practice. Like, let me give you an example. Let's say in 3 months from today, I'm going to run a race, like a 5K, against a collegiate or higher level runner, like someone who really knows how to run, right? And then for the next 3 months, I do no prep work, right? I play piano a lot. I like eat junk food and watch movies every night. And every day they're training like it's a race of their life. Well, 3 months from now, if we race against each other, they're going to crush me. Okay, let's say I spend the next 3 months and I train like they trained, as smart as they train. Now, I'm still going to get crushed, but the gap is going to be much smaller. They're definitely way better at running than I am, right? They'd be definitely way more accomplished than me, but it's not as much as it seems if I didn't do the prep work. So what I'm getting at is this, like professional piano players like myself, we approach pieces often very efficiently. Like we open a book, we play measure one. If there's something hard to measure one, we like deal with the issue. I don't want to say everyone, but lots of us deal with the issue immediately. We're like, oh, that's hard. I'm going to work that out. Not saying we don't like play through the piece a couple times, experience it. We do all that stuff. But when we have a problem, we don't like let things linger as much. I all the time am teaching students who have played a piece for 2 months and on measure 6, they're like, oh yeah, I still play B natural and forget it's B flat. That's fine. I mean, it's fine. Like, I'm not like making fun of them, but something that I think as you get more experience under your belt is you're like, I don't want to waste 2 months of my life playing B natural instead of B flat. I want to really address this and put mental focus into that measure so that stops happening. It's just a more efficient way to practice. So again, the people who you see on concert stages, they're a lot better than you probably, unless you're one of those people. Then hi, thanks for watching the video. But if you're not, like they're a lot better than you skill wise as well. But they also really, really know how to practice. They often know how to budget their time really efficiently. They know a lot of practice tips and tricks and all that stuff. In fact, as I talk about this, yeah, I made a video a few months ago, 4 tips to practice better. So if you haven't seen that yet, I would highly suggest you watch that. I'll put the link in the description down below. Up next here, Moy9022 said, would like to know about J.S. Bach's children. In case you don't know, J.S. Bach had 20 children. Not only did he write maybe more music than any other composer, he also had 20 kids. The first one is Wilhelm Friedemann Bach, and he was like only born when Bach was 25 years old. So because of that, his style tends to be a little more Baroque like his dad. Carl Philipp Emanuel, who we often call CPE Bach, probably is the most noteworthy, like remembered of all the Bach kids today. That's partially because he wrote some really good pieces. You can definitely look up his pieces, but also he wrote an essay or a treatise on the art of playing piano. Super helpful because back then there weren't audio recordings. In case you didn't know, there weren't audio recordings in the 1700s. We don't have like recordings of George Washington and stuff. So we don't really know, we can't know how things actually sounded. So we have to rely on some of these sources of people who lived in the time who said, this is how you should play this. This is how you should interpret stuff. And then there's Johann Christoph Friedrich Bach. We're going to get all these mixed up by the end, but this is the one that I probably know the least about. I can't say I've heard a piece by him before that I can remember. So if you want to know more about him, definitely look it up. And the last one is Johann Christian Bach, J.C. Bach, so we often call him, or some people actually call him the London Bach because he moved to London, I think later in his life. And he actually has quite a few pieces that are somewhat stylistically different from his dad, maybe start veering more into the classical era. And part of that was due to the fact that he was born when Papa was like 50 years old. So he only had like 15 years. When he was 15 years old, his dad would have died. So he's more removed from that era than the other kids. Christian Hammer 8545 says, how do you do voicing, tone balancing? I have just begun entering this area with a more conscious mind. I find it a bit of a challenge. Well, Christian, you are very, very, very not alone. A bit of encouragement for you. So many times people hear someone play piano, and they're like, wow, they're good because it's so fast, or their fingers are moving fast. And then us piano players who actually play really hard pieces, we're more impressed by things like, wow, he brought out that really, really hard to bring out inner voice melody and made it sound beautiful and shaped it despite all the stuff going on. So your word of encouragement is it's really hard, and it's something that you will work on your whole life. So it's not, I have some students who almost ask like, okay, so when am I going to get done working on voicing? And you're really not. You're going to continually throughout your whole piano kind of career become challenged with different configurations of fingers, different tones, different what's the right word, textures of music, where you're going to have to find a way to bring out melody, bring out the right voices in the midst of, eventually chaos. I don't know quite what level you're at, but a really good place to start with voicing is try to do exercises like if you were to play a little left-handed accompaniment pattern like this, and you want to, again, I'm sitting really low, so I should be like up here, but my head will be above the camera, but try to keep like the hand that's not the melody. I like to use the word calm. Don't keep it still. Do not do this. It's not your finger's job to play everything. You're going to just kind of keep it moving back and forth like this, and then make up a melody or find a really simple piece of the melody. In the hand that has the melody, you're going to try to make it more exaggerated. You're going to drop more on those notes, something like this. And I don't know, again, your level, if that's too hard for you, maybe literally start with something like this hand doing this really small and this hand doing this. like really exaggerate it. Like basically, depending on where you're at, you might need to really exaggerate the motion for a while. Like I'm going to bring out this E on top, so I'm going to go, not that one. And I guess as a little experiment, go watch videos of really, really great piano players playing, and you'll see them bring out the melody with more like arm, more drop, more weight behind the notes where they want to bring them out than the hands that don't have. You have this hand down here doing some pattern. You won't see people going. And that's the easiest way to make notes louder and softer. Like it's just one has more motion. If I want this to be louder, I can do that. Right hand louder like this. And Cat says, have you listened to the Transcendental Etudes by Liszt? What do you think about it? If yes, and what's your favorite one if you have one? I've said a lot on the channel before, I really like Liszt. I feel like Liszt is kind of a weird composer where either you think he's the best ever or a lot of people hate him. And I don't really agree with either one of those takes. I'm somewhere in the middle. I think he's great. He's not my favorite. I just made a tier list video, and he's not my top 5. I like Chopin more. I like Beethoven more. However, I don't think he's garbage. I think he's an amazing, amazing composer. I really, really, really like Liszt. I'm super glad he exists. We have his music. To specifically your question, I don't like the Transcendental Etudes as much as maybe some of the Liszt pieces that are more melodic. I feel like Liszt for me really shines when he has super strong, beautiful melodies. I really like those pieces the most. I mean, things like the Tarantella are great, obviously, but then like song transcriptions where there's like a melody he's basing it off of, then you get all that flash and flare around a really strong melody. I prefer slightly. That being said, probably number 12. Probably for that reason, number 12 of the Transcendental Etudes has a really strong core melody in the midst of all this craziness. So, again, love Liszt, one of my favorite composers. He's in my top 10, I guess, according to my tier list because he was in the second tier. So he's in a top 10 composer for me. I think he's great. I think some of the Transcendental Etudes, I get a little lost when listening to them. I just seem to kind of go on and on and on with more flashiness. But if I picked one, probably number 12. I hope you enjoyed the question and answer session. Let me know down below if you did. And of course, if you have any questions, anything that came to mind as the video went along, let me know what those are as well. I'll see you guys next one.